Hey guys, welcome to Tennessee Time.
Tennessee Time.
Tennessee Time.
Tennessee Time.
All right, guys, this episode is about our search for land and the hills and valleys we had to search. They're going to be making fun of me this episode, just so you know. So all things clear. You heard about me not being able to go to the Jack Daniels distillery. Well, I went, but couldn't do the tour. Well, when we went back to Tennessee again, after that, and this was September, right?
Yeah.
I think September.
Yeah,
So June is when I first got my affliction, and then I thought I was fine, and I got my affliction again, and we thought maybe he's just allergic to Tennessee.
Yeah, seriously.
So
And it happens every time.
the pre-story, going tonight actually. The pre-story is we've been working with a realtor, real estate agent. His name's Josh Hill. Josh,
It's fantastic.
awesome. And you guys looking for any property out?
And
in
it was
Tennessee?
mainly Brian.
Yeah, I was
contacting him.
always, and I'll send you, and you'll see, if you look right here, you can see all of these text messages, and the fact that he stayed with us is,
Yeah.
is pretty amazing. You know, he wasn't getting paid for all this crap we were putting him through.
It was a lot.
So we decided to go out, and we had our first list, and here's our list. You can see the properties here. And poor Josh had to go through
all of them.
all of it. So what I would do is, he would send me a couple, and then, you know, I thought I'd be my own real estate agent. So he gave me Real Tracks, which is what they use in Middle Tennessee, to look for land. So I'd say, Josh, what about this one? And he'd have to go, that one doesn't have any power. That one doesn't have any water. So we filtered it down, and we got to these properties, and we were all going to go out together, the four of us,
Yep.
and we were going to go look at property. And Josh came and picked us up in his, F210 or something?
Beautiful truck.
F350, something.
you know,
Yeah,
some
it's a big old
truck.
Tennessee truck.
And I got in the truck with them.
And we all met for the first time.
And for the first time, we hop in, he said our hellos, and he says, okay, let's go to a store or something. We want to
We
get like a
wanted
quick
coffee.
breakfast.
Yeah.
And we wanted coffee.
So I get back in the truck, I said, I can't do it. I can't do
And
it.
we were shocked. We're like,
What are you
Nailed.
talking about? What are you talking about?
and they're like, well, we can stop on the side of the road, you can go to the bathroom. So it's not that, it's more than that. So
But we all got so mad at
They
him.
were
We
mad.
got so mad at
but I'm
him.
leaving him with a stranger who basically at that point I'd been the only one really
Yeah.
communicating with.
Yeah.
And so, you know,
but he was
Send
the
us-
nicest guy.
But we didn't understand how he was feeling. We just thought it was stopping, going pee, and that was it.
Brian being Brian.
they
basically.
Yeah.
found out later when I Ubered myself to the Vanderbilt emergency room.
Emergency.
But that was
Looking like
another
a-
visit.
a
That was
crack
another
whore.
visit.
No, that was that
He
visit.
looked.
It was?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was
Yeah.
that visit. That's when I
He
left.
literally
you guys.
looked like a meth addict
Yeah.
with his
My
backpack and
mindset.
his hoodie. It was bad.
It wasn't fun. And
Yeah,
this is
'cause
all during
COVID.
COVID, remember?
Yeah.
So
So,
Okay. Anyway.
anyways, we digress. So, I get out of the car and I said, just, you know, FaceTime me, whatever you need to do. And they went off. So from here on out, I'll let them narrate because I wasn't there.
Well, and the list, it was interesting. Before we even got out there looking for the property, and Brian touched on it, we had a list, you know, who's working from home. They need internet, a kind of internet, which the Crows will go further into that because they kind of understood the techie part of it. I didn't. So that was a prerequisite. Is there water? Is there gas? There was a lot of, and then can there be animals? So it had to be a certain amount of acreage
yeah.
in Tennessee.
How far are people away?
Yeah.
They need to be far.
Some people
I don't want to be by people.
wanted people and shopping.
That's me and Kim. We didn't want to be by people.
They
We
had
wanted
And
to be
Kim
rural.
and Kim's like, I don't want to meet anyone.
I don't want to be in a
Yeah,
neighborhood.
so-
No neighborhoods, nothing.
Wait till you see some of the properties we had to go out to that weren't by
Timbuktu.
people. It was Yeah.
So I sent him out. So those of you watching this from Tennessee, one of the properties I found was in Altamont. I think that's how you say it,
hills
right?
of Altamont.
At the hills of Altamont. It was
Mountain
79 acres, I believe. And I said, you can get this 79 acres for like under $200,000. We're like, you guys got to go check it out. Because they said there's building sites on it and everything. So how was Altamont, guys?
Well, wasn't Altamont the mountain?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Brian loves the trees and living up in that kind of,
I could barely walk up the hill
Yeah.
because I've got a bad knee.
yeah, and we're like, no, I thought we're getting farmland. I thought we're getting animals. How are we? And their daughter is in a wheelchair. How are you? Azur's going to push her up the hill.
You graded?
still-
flat?
yeah.
yeah,
he still
Brian,
thought it was
you
possible.
graded. It's beautiful. I said,
You
you,
got,
were not
you got
here.
80 acres. You can do stuff.
Yeah,
with.
and we're like, you're not here. You don't understand. It's not happening. It's
It
not
was
happening.
mountain living.
Wait,
It was,
and
there
wasn't
were-
that the
and there
guy
were-
who
there
had
were-
the
log cabins?
the
were
log
there.
cabin at the bottom,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
who had carved out his own little area we'd have to work around?
And it's beautiful, but that was not in my mind
No.
at all.
So those
Not
who want
what
to
I
live
wanted.
off the grid, go to Altamont.
that is totally awesome.
was
Got
Altamont.
views.
Oh, and it was far out.
Yeah.
It was far.
Yeah, it was far out.
What was after
Well,
that?
then I sent you to Winchester. And so those of you who don't know Winchester, if you watched American Idol this last season, Hunter Girl is from Winchester, Tennessee. And tell them about the special house out in Winchester, Tennessee.
Satan's
The
house.
Satan house.
Yeah, there was graffiti, and it literally
Boarded up.
Yeah, it was
Tin
like
foil
a
on the windows.
Satan house, and
They were
li-
probably had a meth lab in
yeah,
there though.
that's what we were told. I think by the neighbor, right? That
Yeah.
asked
Oh
us.
yeah, it was the neighbor.
So the property that we found was beautiful, and so Josh, God bless him, drove his truck out so we could really see all the acreage, get back into the trees. Well, we got stuck.
it was a little muddy,
Yeah.
marshy.
There was no getting out of it. So we're city people, right? So Josh is going to find somebody in the near vicinity to see if they can pull us out. And lo and behold, he finds a wonderful woman and her teenage son. And apparently the son was like, right on. 16 years old,
Total
got his driver's
country.
license, couldn't wait to come help pull these silly people out of the mud.
Is that when Ed was wearing his like pink shorts and light blue shirt or
So
something?
my husband had
They were
a
beige.
nice button down and his skinny California shorts. And
What shoes?
I know what she's
What shoes?
Bands,
With no socks.
no socks.
Yeah,
No socks.
very beach going, right?
He was
And-
ready for Tennessee.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
So the young kid looks straight at Ed and goes, "You hunt?"
Not yet.
But they were very kind. They pulled us out.
Then he said, "You got a really pretty mouth, boy."
No, it was
You know we're
something
Facebook
else.
friends. I'm just saying.
Yeah, it was something else. So next time we went out, Ed wore jeans and muck boots.
All right, so according to them, they FaceTimed me from there because I was trying to check back in with them, and they did this over 2 days. So this was just the first day, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so Winchester was out, Altamont was out, which is good because they really are further out. They're towards Chattanooga, and they're a
Very
lot,
excluded.
Yeah.
lot further out. And I understand we have a daughter who needs medical
Hospitals?
attention, hospitals. We're all getting older. I know we all look.
And
like
our
we're
father's
20,
coming, and so he has Parkinson's, so we are caregivers, but also we need to reach out for.
So we wanted
healthcare.
to be close enough to medical facilities. So
Yeah.
so then after that, those were the two furthest. Altamont, Winchester. Those were pretty far, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
So
our
then
that was our first day.
Yeah,
we
because
went far.
because Josh
wanted
said
to
we're
go
going to
to
start you
furthest.
furthest and then work your way back.
Yeah.
They went to Tullahoma, and that's when me and Kim said we looked on the map even before they left, and I spent lots of time in my computer, and me and Kim were saying, but there's a neighborhood right there. So
But
you have your 20, 30 acres, but it's in the middle of the city basically.
But no,
But it had
no.
everything.
And it wasn't a true neighborhood like California. Give me a break.
No.
It was like a house and then a house. People were on their big mowers mowing their lawns.
2 acre lots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're like, it's not a neighborhood. And they're just like,
But it's still
looks like a
dab,
neighborhood.
right dab in the middle of the city.
But
So-
yeah, because you turn the corner and then there was everything, all fast food,
Yeah.
restaurants, shopping. I like that.
We had a
So we
nice
call that the
lunch.
cornfield property.
Yes,
Yeah,
because
it
it was
was a cornfield.
all cornfield that they had cut down. So that was our cornfield. Everyone had a nickname. So that was corn. There was meth or Satan House.
Not
there was
corn pop.
cornfield.
Cornfield.
And then what was the next one on that trip? Was that, you said Herman?
No, Herman was the next day, but it was
Yeah.
that trip.
But we almost canceled because we were like, we really didn't like anything out there.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and we were sold on cornfield.
Yeah, so they were
Yeah.
saying we
But
found our property.
We didn't know because I think the acreage wasn't enough or something like that.
For the animals, maybe.
Yeah.
And
Well,
there was
and it had
power,
power
lines.
lines
Yeah,
going
there was
through it.
power lines in the
Oh,
back.
yeah, at the very back.
There was a lot of that.
Going through that.
We'd go through things, and there was a lot of properties that looked beautiful, but then a couple of us in our group, we won't name any names, just didn't want any power lines anywhere. So
No,
that-
there was some really bad power lines.
But any of you who look for land or have been looking for land, you'll notice it's becoming scarce,
It's hard.
and a lot of stuff either has power lines, trees.
Too many
stuff,
trees. Like
too many
we love trees, but if there's so many, you think, is it worth cutting down the trees? Can you put 4 homes? There was just a lot to consider for 4 families.
Yeah, so you got to remember. So every family or every person has their own personality. So Heidi would send me pictures of her dream, and it was basically just a flat plain
For my
like
goats.
farm. And then I would send pictures, and it was layered lands where you'd have a
Hills.
pasture, and then you'd have a view, and so that was mine. So
Layers.
We had to
Rolling
compromise. Rolling hills.
hills.
Oh, yes, he wanted rolling hills.
Mountains.
Yeah, I didn't get to see
Cliffs.
the mountain place. Although we did go with Kim, and we'll talk about that next visit when we went to Camp Woodley or whatever that was. So that was the first day where I was sitting home miserable. And then the second day they went out.
Yeah,
and
but we
Matt's-
tried to convince him so
oh yeah, they
hard
really
again.
wanted that. Oh, to go again.
No, to
Yeah.
come with us.
That was worse
Yeah.
the next day. So then the next day
Oh.
we had a list, and we said, they
I
worked
think
it
there
out
was
with
only
Josh.
a couple.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
we
there's
were
only a
getting
couple.
tired.
And so
Yeah, we were tired.
remember, you had to find things that met certain criteria. We didn't want a well. We wanted city
For all
water.
of us.
We wanted power. Out there, you're not going to find sewer for most of the properties, so we kind of gave in to the point that, okay, we're going to have septic.
Yeah.
So now you have to have something that, what they call perks. It has to have enough for 4 septic perk areas for 4 houses. So we were limited. If somebody's going out and wants to buy 20 acres and they're only one
By
house,
themselves.
it's pretty easy. But we're talking about 4 different people. So then they went to the next day with Josh, and they found the property.
Yes.
Okay, so not only does this property go all the way over to that other tree line, but this is a creek. It would go through the property, and listen to it. Crap, this is freaking gorgeous.
It was like the la moment. We went and had margaritas after, and we're toasting to our new
We went
home.
Yeah.
And that
to
was
go-
in Smithville, Tennessee.
We went around the neighborhood. There was a hospital not like 5 minutes away. There was a Walmart. The high school was having a parade.
Oh,
Yeah.
it was
like,
Friday.
Friday night lights.
Oh my God, how cute! Friday lights, they all put their chairs, and in Tennessee, you're probably laughing right now because this is probably normal.
Yeah.
But everyone came out, and it was homecoming.
Oh yeah, it was.
It was homecoming, so all the
It was
kids were.
cool.
Oh my God, I cried. I literally cried because it just seemed this is our new home. This is it. So we went to celebrate.
Yeah, so they told me, they sent me the picture. Well, I'd already had the map because we'd already gone over all these properties. So there was only 12 usable acres without cutting down trees. So we were all thinking in the beginning, we each get 5 acres. We're looking for 20 acres. The reason we're doing 20 acres is because out there, for zoning, if you have 5 acres or more, you get rid of a lot of the red tape. So we all wanted our 5 acres. So this one was over 20 acres, but not all of it was
I
usable.
think it was 36.
Yeah, it was large.
Yeah, it was very
Yeah.
big, but a lot of it
Was trees.
was marshy, and then the other was trees. So it could have worked, and we kind of gave into it, and we actually
Yep.
told Josh to
Made
make
an offer.
Yeah.
Well, after all that excitement, the person selling it decided they're going to pull it.
Actually, they didn't truly accept because we made an offer that was below asking.
Oh, that's right. But then we came up to actual asking.
Yeah, but once we made that offer below and we provided comps, the real estate agent decided, we're guessing, that
They can make more.
they could make more money because they had comps. So lo and behold, they pulled the whole deal out from under us and we
But
lost that
But
property.
before that happened, so we had come home, We made our offer. We were waiting through everything.
So happy.
So now, me and Heidi mainly started drawing all of our boundaries. and I'll show you right here. You'll
Don't
see
let
on the
that come out of your
screen
nose.
all the different
God.
ways we could divide the property. Now, we didn't know much back then. We learned a lot over the months that we
Yes.
were doing this. So we were just dividing it how we
Had
think.
so many designs.
Let's
Yeah.
design it like this. But we find out later, and when we go to
Much
our Cooper
later.
property, you'll
Much
see
later.
that you have to have an easement of 50 feet from the road to every single one of the 4 properties. So you can't just stick a property back and say, well, we'll just put a little driveway back there. There has to be 50 feet.
Yeah.
We didn't know that. So Herman, we kind of divided it up. We didn't know. And by the time we were going to learn to see if it perked and everything, that's when the person selling it decided, looks like they're subdividing a lot of these properties around
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
I think I could subdivide and make a lot more money. So she pulled it. We were back to square one.
We were even
It
gonna
was very sad.
even do a common area. So we were gonna
Yeah.
divide it up,
Yeah, back
and
in
then
the
the
tree,
back
we were going to have our own little.
it had like on the map it had a pond surrounded by trees, and then we were talking to people,
Picnic
and they're like, "Oh, you can let people hunt and all this kind of
We have a
thing."
little
So we had no
HOA.
idea what we were doing at first about subdividing and all that. So as you can imagine, there was 50 plus different variations. I want the creek. I don't want the creek. We can farm this area. Like we had a
Yeah.
bunch of plans.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we did.
So that was our first go around at buying land, and
Very interesting.
unfortunately, I didn't get to participate too much in the looking at it. But then I was putting a lot of time into, the dividing it and trying to get Josh to get all this done. And then when it fell through, we were all kind of a little dispirited. I think.
Oh, she had a hard time.
But we did learn one big thing on Herman. Azure does not like bugs. There was a
Those
lot
are
of
crickets.
bugs.
We found
a lot of
Crickets.
crickets.
There are a ton of these crickets in the grass.
We found that out on
And then
every trip.
And then a snake.
I think, is that about when I had one of my meltdowns too, that I didn't want to do it anymore?
Well, that was.
It
Oh,
was.
after they pulled
That
out.
I
was-
think
You were,
after,
like, done.
I think
That's a whole nother
that
episode.
was one. But then after Cooper was the second time she was like, I'm done.
I don't want to do it anymore.
Yeah, so,
It was an interesting 6 months.
Yeah.
but just for those of you out there watching this who are thinking about, hey, those guys have a good idea. Let's grab some friends and go buy some land and build our own commune. It's not as easy as it seems it should be. There are things,
Most
and that's in a rural area of Tennessee where they don't have a lot of regulations. Could you imagine doing that here in California?
And a side note, we also know each other well enough through the good and the bad that my friends always say, I can't believe you're doing this. This is so wonderful and easy. And I said, don't get me wrong. We're making sure, worst case scenario, God forbid something happens to a couple, or a divorce or sickness, or they just completely pull out of the idea. We have
Or
to
Kim
make
kills
sure
somebody. Oh, I shouldn't say that on camera.
we have to make sure that we look at all that and make sure legally we have it all nice and tidy, because we want to end up friends and everything, right?
Yep.
You know, I did have a dream about drawing up a contract. So might even want to think about that.
Yeah, you
Make
definitely
sure
want-
everybody's in agreement.
I think one of our things on our many Zoom meetings is we said first right of refusal. So if somebody decides they don't want to do this after things have been built or bought, that the other partners get that first right to buy it before it just goes to a stranger. Because you don't want a stranger now living in your little community. So,
Yeah, that's really important, actually.
Yeah.
That's a takeaway note right there.
so that's the story of trip 1, looking for property. Stay tuned for our next trip when we went with Kim and Scotty to go look for property to replace our Herman property. So thanks again for tuning in. Remember, you have to like, subscribe, and ring the bell so that you can get notifications every time we release a new video. And if you're watching us if you got sent from Facebook, please comment on our YouTube instead of the Facebook link, because it helps us if you comment on our actual YouTube page. So we appreciate it.
Thank you.
We're also going to have Instagram. Heidi's in charge of the Instagram. So if you don't like the pictures you see there, talk to her. And then we'll probably even do a TikTok for you younger watchers. All right, that's it, guys.
Thank you.
All right, thanks for watching.